Over the weekend, DeepSeek launched its AI assistant, an alternative to OpenAI's ChatGPT. By yesterday, the app had surpassed ChatGPT as the highest rated free app on the iOS store in the United States and the UK. At the same time, stock markets saw $1 trillion worth of value knocked off yesterday, although, has to be said, much of that returned today. One exception, though, is Nvidia. Nvidia shares are around 16% lower today than Friday. The reason being that its GPUs are critical to building high-performance AI platforms, and over recent years, many in the industry have argued for what's been called a scaling law. The more GPUs, the better your AI. What DeepSeek shows, however, is that there isn't a simple one-to-one relationship between GPUs and performance, which was the bet of major US firms. And the reason why, and this is crazy, Nvidia was at one point the world's most valuable company last year. It's because of that scaling law that between them, Microsoft, Meta, Alphabet, Amazon, and Oracle earmarked a collective $310 billion in capital expenditure for this year, most of which was for AI infrastructure. But with DeepSeek, the scaling law has just been proven wrong, with the Chinese application able to compete on a fraction of the budget of OpenAI, recently valued at $157 billion, as well as the likes of Anthropic, Google, and Meta. Questions are being raised about the vast sums, therefore, being poured into those companies' training systems. Naturally, your whole strategy being zapped overnight is uncomfortable and leads to lots of cope. Indeed, things are so bad that Satya Nadella, CEO at Microsoft, was even tweeting Wikipedia articles first thing in the morning. Jevons paradox strikes again. As AI gets more efficient and accessible, we will see its use skyrocket, turning it into a commodity we just can't get enough of. Maybe not. You probably don't want to base hundreds of billions of dollars worth of investment on like a Wikipedia article. For people who aren't aware, Jevons paradox was an observation made by a British economist in the 19th century that even as steam engines became more efficient over time, there was a greater consumption by volume of coal. That's kind of what Satya Nadella is saying, right? AI will become more commonplace, GPUs will get more efficient, more cheaper in terms of compute, and we'll use more of it. I mean, maybe. But I also think, look, you're selling a product right now for $200 a month, and somebody's just come along who's open source and free. You aren't going to be very happy about that, are you? Our comparative advantage at Microsoft is cash and access to capital. We want high costs of entry. High costs of entry means that we can have a monopoly or an oligopoly. It'll be very hard for new disruptors to enter the market, but DeepSeek shows that's actually possible. Again, if that was part of your model, high barriers to entry, high cost of entry because of the huge amounts of computation required, and that's now gone, you're in trouble. And it gets worse for US companies because Huawei has now become NVIDIA's primary competitor in China. This is in regard to chips. So this is from the Financial Times last Tuesday, before the DeepSeek story broke at the end of last week. Instead of challenging NVIDIA in training, Huawei is positioning its latest Ascend AI processors as the hardware of choice for Chinese groups running inference, the computation undertaken by LLMs to generate a response to a prompt. The Chinese tech giant is betting that inference will be a bigger future source of demand if the pace of model training slows and AI applications such as chatbots become more widespread. Oops, there we go. The Ascend 910 chip is generally viewed as more energy efficient than the NVIDIA A100, which is obviously quite good from a climate perspective. I'm not saying it's a better chip. It's a good chip. It's more efficient. It's a start, okay? It's a start. Apparently not. Because the cope continues to flow copiously. This was AI research company Anthropic CEO trying to burst the DeepSeek bubble.
So, later this year, we and probably others will have hundreds of thousands of chips. I think, probably there will be millions of chips from various companies in 2026 and more in 2027. DeepSeek, the Chinese company, it's marketed as cheap, but it's at least been reported that DeepSeek has 50,000 H100s, which for reference is about half of what Elon's Colossus cluster has. I won't say exactly how many of these Anthropic has right now. So I actually think we have an opportunity, and this relates to China policy. Right now, both sides are roughly in the mid tens of thousands, low hundreds of thousands of chips. That's why we're kind of close to parity now. We're at the crossover point. But as we go to hundreds of thousands and millions of chips, there's two possible futures. In one of those futures, the US and its allies are able to provision that many chips fast enough. And because of the export controls on chips to China, and because Chinese Huawei chips are inferior, China cannot get to that scale.
So look, if you've committed to spending billions, tens of billions, or hundreds of billions of dollars collectively, if you've committed to spending that much money on GPUs because you think the scaling law is like the bet, I totally get why you'd back yourself up, right? You'd be like, no, this really matters. We just commit to tens of billions of dollars. Now, I'm not saying GPUs don't matter. They do matter. DeepSeek used very powerful chips. The question is a lot bigger than just simply computational power. Here's what OpenAI's Sam Altman wrote on X earlier today. DeepSeek's R1 is an impressive model, particularly around what they're able to deliver for the price. And of course, in a capitalist economy, that's kind of important. We will obviously deliver much better models, and it's also legit invigorating to have a new competitor. Legit, I bet it is, Sam. We will pull up some releases. But mostly we're excited to continue to execute on our research roadmap and believe more compute is more important now than ever before to succeed at our mission. I bet you do. You're about to invest hundreds of billions of dollars in it. The world is going to want to use a lot of AI and really be quite amazed by the next gen models coming. Look forward to bringing you all AGI and beyond, artificial general intelligence, like Skynet, basically. I look forward to it. It's here. It's happening. AGI, it's coming. One moment, though, because here's what Altman tweeted just 8 days ago. Twitter hype is out of control again. We're not going to deploy AGI next month, nor have we built it. We have some very cool stuff for you, but please chill and cut your expectations 100 times. That kind of looks like a clear change of tone, doesn't it? This is an amazing time. We love the competition. We're going to see AGI and beyond AGI. I mean, I don't even know what's beyond AGI. What, post-humanism? Maybe. And that's now been replaced by veiled panic, I think is a pretty fair way of characterizing it. Finally, here's what President Trump had to say.
The release of DeepSeek AI from a Chinese company should be a wake-up call for our industries that we need to be laser focused on competing to win, because we have the greatest scientists in the world. Even Chinese leadership told me that. They said, you have the most brilliant scientists in the world in Seattle and various places. But Silicon Valley, they said, there's nobody like those people. This is very unusual when you hear a DeepSeek, when you hear somebody come up with something. We always have the ideas. We're always first. So I would say that's a positive. That could be very much a positive development. So instead of spending billions and billions, you'll spend less and you'll come up with, hopefully, the same solution. Under the Trump administration, we're going to unleash our tech companies and we're going to dominate the future like never before.
Like never before. I personally think you probably won't get greater levels of industrial domination by technology as we've seen over the last 10 years from US firms. I could be wrong. Anyway, kind of a different vibe there, right? Trump is saying we have to win. It's a wake-up call. We need to win. We need to dominate like never before. While Altman is saying, hey, there's going to be enough demand for AI to go around. We can all be happy. There can be DeepSeek. There can be OpenAI. Trump's like, no, we have to win. We have to win. Michael, this has been a real shock to US big tech, hasn't it?
Yeah, clearly. I mean, on one level, I am quite frightened about it because, I mean, if you're thinking about sort of AI in terms of having an existential threat and you want people to go slowly, we clearly are now in an arms race, right? This has clearly put rocket boosters under what's been going on. I mean, the context, I think behind Sam Altman saying we're not close to getting AGI, artificial general intelligence, is one to say, don't worry, you don't need to come and regulate us. Also, because it's actually written into their documents that the moment they achieve artificial general intelligence, then Microsoft can't get the profits. So they can only achieve artificial general intelligence after, I think this is now written into their documents, after Microsoft have got back the $100 billion that they've invested into their company. Strange definition of what artificial general intelligence counts as. So basically, context there is very financially and politically significant when AGI is reached in open AI. It's not just sort of something that's sort of out of interest. It has legal and financial ramifications. In terms of what Trump has said, I mean, that will be music to the ears of OpenAI and Anthropic, because that's basically him saying, you want more government support, I'm here for it. This is a strategic priority, and I want you to go faster, 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 right? Some of the conversation in the tech world, obviously Joe Biden was also sort of in this strategic race to try and beat China when it came to AI. That's why they had export controls. But there was, I suppose, a sort of dialogue going on between Washington and Silicon Valley, where there were people in Washington who wanted to make sure that there was some degree of AI safety, or that they slowed down the advancement of it to some degree. Obviously, you've got top scientists in those companies saying there's a 10% chance that this could lead to human extinction, right? So the stakes are potentially quite high. Now, I mean, Donald Trump is basically just saying faster, faster, faster. Let's go faster. That's going to be music to their ears. I'm concerned about that. I suppose on a consumer level, though, it's good if you do have more competition. One of the reasons why there was sort of that hit to tech stocks is because sort of the model of success and super profits in the tech sector is you want a really big moat around your business. Basically, you want it to be very difficult for any other firm to enter. For the likes of Facebook, one of the reasons they have a very big moat is because there's network effects. It's very difficult to sort of set up a competing social network because everyone's friends are already on Facebook or Instagram, right? If you say, oh, join us, we've got a better user interface. Well, you don't have the people, so it doesn't matter, right? That's how Facebook have managed to build a monopoly. Google have managed to build a monopoly, in part by giving Apple billions of dollars so that on your Apple mobile, Google is the automatic search. So that was sort of under scrutiny by the competition authority in the United States. This is suggesting that the moat around the AI industry might not be as deep as some of those investors have been hoping, which would mean that it wouldn't make people as super rich in the monopolistic sense as has done sort of with Google, Apple, Facebook so far. That's, I suppose, yet to be seen. But yeah, I mean, having this open source model in many ways is cool. In many ways will accelerate us getting to potentially scary AI. And in that sense, there's a darker side to this as well.
Michael, I have a very strange question for you. I'm sure you've seen Terminator 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's more likely to accidentally develop Skynet, Republicans or Democrats?
Republican. I would. Well, I mean, from listening to them, it's Republicans at this point in time, right? Because they are definitely less fussed about regulating tech. Although I suppose it's interesting when it came to sort of like the question of should kids have smartphones and social media, the Republicans actually sort of led on that question. The Democrats didn't. I'm not sure why. For some reason, that managed to get right coded. I mean, you might have given a different answer 4 years ago as well, because it used to be that sort of Silicon Valley was allied with the Democrats and the Republican Party were quite suspicious of Silicon Valley. That's obviously massively switched. I mean, I would say at this point in time that having Donald Trump very, very close to all of the bosses of Silicon Valley, if you were to sort of look for a formula for Skynet being produced, as well as being in sort of Cold War competition, superpower competition with China, this would kind of be it. I don't know where the guardrails are.